Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Bare Opinion. My name is Mitch, and today we are talking about a subject that is a little concerning to me, and something that I like to discuss. A band that many people may have already written off at this point, but I certainly haven't, and I'd like to make a case for them. All Time Low. I'm a little concerned with the direction they're going, and some of the choices they've made in the last month. And I just like to talk about it. So let's get into it. But before we get to my concerns, let's just talk about the band a little bit, right? So many people will know them from their early 2009 days, the Nothing Personal era, where they released the song Weightless. That is arguably their most popular song, and arguably the song that put them on the map. And the reason I say arguably is because they did release a song earlier in their career called Dear Maria, which some people might argue is their what put them on the map. But I would say it's Weightless. Regardless, a lot of people who know them from the Weightless era probably know them as a corny, cheesy, douchey group of four guys who sang pop punk music. And you wouldn't be wrong. I mean, let's be honest, they were kind of douchey back then, and I mean, it's just how it is, you know? The 09 phase for most bands was pretty bad. I don't know a lot of bands who were humble back in that day. A lot of people were going through the glitz and glamour phase, right? The long hair, kind of like the polished up looks. It was the thing, right? But if you could look past that, if you could look past their how they acted in that time, which keep in mind, they were in their early 20s. They actually were a good band, and this was their third record that they had released at this point. I mean, like, Nothing Personal wasn't their first go around. I mean, they had the Party Scene, which pretty okay record, and So Wrong It's Right, which is a great record in its own, which came out in 2007. But Nothing Personal is kind of where they started to blossom, right? And Nothing Personal, in my opinion, is a great record. I mean, it's not like like a masterpiece. It's not like Beethoven, it's not like on that level of like classics, but it's a good fun record. I mean, there's a lot of songs on there that I can jam to pretty much at any time. And it's a nostalgia trip for me, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate it for what it is. This is also around the time that like Fall Out Boy was like really in their prime, Cobra Starship, Metro Station, We the Kings, I don't know. That kind of like songs, music type was really huge then. So, they were kind of one in a bunch, but they really did stick out and they made a name for themselves. So then 2011 came around and they announced their fourth record, Dirty Work, which would be like the follow-up to their huge successful record, Nothing Personal. And I was really excited about this, right? I thought it was going to be really great. And keep in mind, this is where things become a little concerning, and that also relate to present times. So pay attention to this. So Dirty Work comes out, right? And it's just kind of not good. It's like Dirty Work kind of took everything Nothing Personal was and made it worse. This was also when they moved from Hopeless Records to Interscope, and that was a big problem. The band lost a lot of their creative freedoms, and it felt like a very forced and produced record, which it was. I mean, there aren't that many good songs on there. Like, the biggest single off that record was, I Feel Like Dancing, which was just, the whole album is just a cheese fest, right? And there were a few elements in that album that, like, you could feel they're like old, like, Rocky vibes trying to bleed through, but there was just so much production on the album and so much, like, marketing with it that it was just, it turned a lot of people off, and me included. So at this point, like, I didn't like completely write the band off. I was kind of like, they're going down the mainstream, road, and they're going to kind of lose who they are. Then in 2012, they made the huge, not release, but announcement that they would be releasing a brand new album, and they released it, and they announced it by releasing the single song Reckless and the Brave for their new album Don't Panic, which in my mind I cannot remember a band who had such a turnaround from Dirty Work to Don't Panic. The sound that they created was so much better and so much true to who they are, And a lot of that came because they left Interscope and went back to Hopeless. Hopeless is a great record label. I just want to put that out there. I think that they support a lot of really good bands. And when All Time Low is on Hopeless Records, they play their best. Don't Panic is my favorite All Time Low album. It's a legitimately great rock album. And for anybody who doubts this band or who thinks that they are that like cheesy pop punk band from 2009, go and give this album a listen. I think for the most part it's going to change a lot of people's mind on them. Maybe not, but this record is great. And also the band started to mature a lot at this point. They kind of stepped away from their antics and started writing some like really like down to earth like mature music, which was great to see. They kind of fell in line with like bands like The Maine, a lot of that kind of like just like serious rock, good stuff. And like, but at the same time, you know, Alex, Jack, Zach, and Ryan maintained the personalities that they had grown to show people. You know, they're fun. They're like nice guys. They're legitimately good people. And that's one thing that I just love about All Time Low. I think that they are just such a good people and just like writing music, which is why I want to see them succeed, right? So moving along, 2014 comes along, and they announce Future Hearts, which will be their next album, right? And the album releases actually in 2015 with songs like Something's Gotta Give and Kids in the Dark, and it didn't quite hit the levels of Don't Panic, but it was a good record, right? It kind of was hitting some more poppy elements. It wasn't quite as solid of like a rock record as Don't Panic was, but it also had some good stuff on it, and they're still on Hopeless at this point, right? So, so the band's kind of just continuing on, they're writing good music, right? So, we're in the present now, okay? That was just a quick snapshot of the band. We're in the present now, and within the last month, the band released their newest single called Dirty Laundry. This is as of like a couple weeks ago. And I listened to it and I went, uh-oh. I was like, oh, this is kind of concerning. It's not a bad song, okay? It's not. But it's certainly a different style than the band has previously released. And another part of that is it's kind of hitting those pop elements again. The first half of this track is very kind of poppy and produced and a lot of like electronic elements, not as much instrumentation as the band has shown before. And Alex's vocals are like good, but they're like a little unnatural in some of the pitches that they're hitting. And it's a good song. Like, it sounds good. It's catchy as all hell, but it's not quite to that level of like Don't Panic and like the really just raw rock that they were getting out at that point. So I was looking into the creation of the single and like what the elements were going into it, and then I noticed a big scary thing. The band had signed on to Fueled by Ramen, the record label that I fear the most. This label takes good bands, milks them for any talent they have, produces way too radio-friendly music, and turns them into a marketing ploy, basically. I mean, you look at bands like 21 Pilots, one of my favorite bands that is slowly dying in my heart, because what used to be such a raw, like, rock and like rap and electronica and just strange band that like really spoke from the heart when they wrote music is now becoming this joke of like Scene Girl Love and the Skeleton Click and all that, and that happened on Fueled by Ramen like right after they signed. You could say the same thing with Paramore. Like, when Paramore got onto Fueled by Ramen, Hayley Williams became a total big-headed asshole who like controls the band in every way and is like causing members to leave, even though I heard one of the Faro brothers is back, but that's another topic. So Fueled by Ramen has its history of really pushing marketable music out of bands, and with All Time Low joining them and releasing Dirty Laundry, that is a very marketable, radio-friendly song, I'm really concerned with what this album is going to be. Now, the new album they actually did already announce. It's called Last Young Renegade. It's going to drop on June 2nd, and it's only 10 tracks long, which sucks. I hate short albums, but you know, if the quality of the music is good, I can pass it by. But for the most part, a 10-track album just doesn't cut it for me. And there's also just, it's dumb to judge a track on its name, but some of these names are just like, oh my god. Like track 5 is called Nice to Know You, and it's spelled N-I-C-E, and keep in mind there's no spaces between any of this. N-I-C-E, the number 2, No is K-N-O, and then U is a capital U. Like, oh god. And then like Life of the Party, and Afterglow, and just like, I'm just concerned with this. I'm really afraid that what's going to happen with this record is the same thing that happened with Dirty Work, where they signed on to a new label, they got away from Hopeless and the freedoms that they had over there, and instead of writing all-time low music that we saw on Don't Panic and on portions of Future Hearts, we're gonna get Dirty Work 2.0 that's just radio-friendly buzz that's not going to really justify the talent and like the musical skill this band truly does have. So we'll see what happens with this in the future. I don't know. I really do like these guys, and they're very talented. But this career choice may have been a bad one, and we're going to see what happens. I mean, on June 2nd, and you know, between now and then, obviously, we'll be getting some singles, so it'll be easier to judge it, what we're getting by that point anyway. But, yeah. I don't know. I'm a little concerned, and we'll see what happens. So, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you agree or disagree, please comment below. Let me know. Please give the video a like and subscribe if you want some more content. Yeah, this is a bit of an issue that I don't think everybody's going to agree with me on. So I'd love to hear what you all think. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, adios.